Hey, thanks for checking us out. This is Sports and Other Stuff. You can find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. We have a new episode every week. We have more than 100 in the can, so check it out. Thanks for being a part of it. Just subscribe. Thanks a million.
T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lug.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yeah, things sound a little different here on the new computer system. They jazzed us up here at the shop. Okay, we made it. It's super duper super week. It's Chiefs and Eagles, and we'll have predictions only the way we can do it, Sport Weasels style. First off, though, just before we went to press last week, we missed this one. Tom Brady retires again, setting off a lot of wheels in motion for a quarterback carousel across the National Football League. And I like this part. TB12 himself says he won't be in the Fox broadcast booth until 2024. So, Lugs, how are you? What do you say about TB12 and the future of quarterbacks in this great league?
Well, I'm kind of surprised. I wanted him to go to San Francisco and go out a winner instead of going out just sort of bagging it. But I believe he's going to do it unless some wild offer comes into him. I think he's going to do it. As far as the quarterback carousel, if Derek Carr were to land in Tampa, he would be in a world of luxury. So there are several good quarterbacks, and there are several people who need quarterbacks. What do you think, Dog? Are you pulling for Aaron Rodgers coming to the Colts?
No, that's not going to happen.
To the Colts.
To the Colts.
What was that one?
First on Brady. Brady, he says for good this time. I mean, let's give it, a month before we completely buy it.
Right,
It's usually, we saw from last time. He doesn't take long for him to flip heads, but I'm glad he's taking at least a year off to I guess, spend time with family and friends, just try to, figure out what he wants to do with the rest of his life. Because, as crazy as he was able to be able to play at a high level for such a long time, he is now at that next phase of his life. And I understand why he's willing to do broadcasting because, I mean, we went over his deal when he initially signed it. It's as lucrative almost as his NFL playing career, which says a lot. It was over $300 million, right?
Yep.
Have a year. Hopefully he uses it to be with broadcasters that actually do games. Hopefully he's not just sitting in a bunker with Jim Gray, the charismaless leech that somehow is latched on to Tom Brady.
But he's an award-winning journalist, we keep hearing Jim Gray. But what award did he win? Do you know? I don't know.
I don't.
It wasn't a Pete Rose Award, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Brady makes 10 years, $375 million from Fox. And what happens to Greg Olson? Is he going to just get the big haircut, or is he going to show up somewhere else?
I think he'll be slid down to the B team.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. And no, they're not cutting him. He's done too good a job. I know it sounds like maybe you all didn't like him as much, but I think Greg Olson's done a great job.
Plus, they're only paying him $1 million from what I read. So
yeah,
he's a good deal out there.
Yeah, but
he's still on his rookie deal, so
he is indeed.
But again, the greatest thing was it was predicted that with Tom Brady leaving Tampa, he was going to go to the Raiders.
Yep.
Because obviously Derek Carr got benched at the end of the year for the opportunity for Tom Brady to maybe come in. Now that doesn't happen. So this is where the QB shuffle, the domino effect happens, where if you kind of think about it, I think to the Raiders is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oop, I've heard that.
Because he knows the McDaniel system. He shouldn't be too expensive because I just think that was the thing with the Brady thing, as he'd have to take a huge haircut. I know some people say Aaron Rodgers because obviously Devontae Adams. Again, Aaron Rodgers' cap hit is so big, I don't think the Raiders can take it on. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think it's Garoppolo. And also, like we've said before, he's a likable guy. There's a lot to be said for being a likable guy. So I think he'll be able to go into that situation and build chemistry quickly. No. Derek Carr, on the other hand, I think he goes to the Saints.
Wow. Okay.
Because, again, Dennis Allen was his head coach when he was with the Raiders for that very abbreviated amount of time. He is an upgrade, I think, over Dalton and Winston.
Yeah.
Would you all agree on that?
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
If you look at that roster in terms of the age of them, they have to win now. They can't bring in a young gun. So, and Olave and Juan Johnson, and you look at Kamara in the backfield, they have some pieces for him to throw the ball to. So, I think that's a good one.
And Taysom Hill, come on, don't forget Taysom Hill.
Oh yeah, he could throw to Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Taysom's going to Denver.
To do what? To hang out?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, actually, Luggs is right.
Did I miss something?
He might actually compete for the starting job with how Sean Payton feels about his son that he doesn't.
That's cold, boys. That's cold. That's cold commentary. T-Dog, stop for a sec. Did you go out to the Pro Bowl in Vegas and catch some kind of croup or something out there, man? What's going on? First of all, and
he's got that desert throat,
I digress.
I have that desert throat.
Did you watch the flag football? Can we take a poll, please? Did anybody watch that? I watched a little. I have to admit.
I didn't.
We'll get back to the QB shuffle, but let's sidebar it.
Yeah, sidebar. Please.
The Pro Bowl. Look, was it great? And no, it was not great. That being said,
right.
There's a few things I do like about it. Number one, they don't wear helmets, and they couldn't do that in a regular game,
right?
Because it does show more of their personality. And again, that's all this game is an exhibition for hopefully the personalities of the game, so younger players or fans can gravitate towards them. They also are looser, doing it, and also, I know y'all probably never played the game or something. A lot of it felt like NFL Blitz, which was a game that came out in the early 2000s where it's just things going really fast. I mean, it doesn't feel like football. It's not. It has elements of football, but it's just a sideshow. That's what the Pro Bowl is supposed to be. And let's be honest. I mean, is it worse than when you had a bunch of offensive linemen who weren't really pass blocking, going against pass rushers who weren't really rushing the ball? It's what was the point in even having them out there? These last few Pro Bowl games they had.
I saw a couple of highlights, though, where a couple of defensive boys took some shots on guys. It was that competitive streak kicked in. That one kid crossing the goal line.
Tyreek Hill, man.
He just got whammed,
Well, my biggest problem with this Pro Bowl, and I don't think it has a problem to do with them modifying it, man, for as many great passers are in the AFC, how in the hell, going back to Derek Carr, who I think is good, but he was benched at the end of the year. How is he on the Pro Bowl team?
That's what got me thinking about it when you said Derek Carr. He was in the Pro Bowl.
and then the backup quarterback for the Ravens.
Yes.
What is he doing out there?
Huntley was out there.
Why was Tyler Huntley out there? I think we all think Tyler Huntley is solid. I don't think we think he's bad. He did a good job of not screwing things up. He allowed them to get in the playoffs because he is competent. But if you remember during that time when the Ravens made that playoff push, it was mainly that defense carrying that team. That team was hitting 20 points most weeks. So how is this guy? Look, I understand Patrick Mahomes isn't in it because of the Super Bowl.
Right.
I understand why Burrow's not in it because he just lost the week before. All right. Again, and I know he had some arm problems, but come on, Josh Allen. They need some star power. Why aren't you out there?
It was Kirk Cousins and who else? Several
Gino.
Yeah, Gino played a lot. Yep.
But at least, and again, I know we bring this on every week. I know Luggs doesn't like Kirk Cousins. You look at the numbers Kirk Cousins put up. It's at least legitimately
Pro
he
Bowl.
should probably be on a Pro Bowl team.
Always.
Gino, if you look at what he did this year, he should legitimately be on the Pro Bowl team. You look at what Derek Carr. It's like, how are these guys out here?
6-game sample.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just, but that was my main thing. I think.
Well,
I
was going to say Tyler Huntley brings us back to the quarterback carousel in Lamar. So the last I saw, Harbaugh says 200% Lamar will be back with the Ravens.
200%.
200%. Okay. That says to me, that tells me Lamar is gone, and he should sign his own deal with somebody else. Now they can try to franchise him, but he'll be injured for the whole year. I'll guarantee you, because Lamar is pissed. You can tell.
Well, who's that somebody? Who's that somebody else you're thinking of?
Atlanta, maybe Tampa. You don't think so, dog? Man, who you got? You got bugs in the NFL headquarters or something? Tell me.
No, you hit on the main thing is the unfortunate thing on how this thing is set up. They're going to franchise him.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I'm telling you, he's going to get injured in the first game. He's going to pull a Mahomes. I've got a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
And then he's going to sit out the entire season. And then after that, they can't do it again.
And then he'll go free agent. And then he'll go to Detroit.
By the way, with Derek Carr, if they don't trade him before the deadline, he gets $40 million guaranteed. $40 million.
Well, that was the funniest thing about this deal before it even really happened to effect is Derek Carr, when his last deal, he had a no trade clause. So it's like these people are benching him. And then it's like, yeah, you're going to go wherever we want. It's like, no, I'm not. It's like, that's
read the contract. Read the contract.
Yeah, it's like, why did we think this through? Like, this is the thing with the Raiders. And again, I hate to bring it up with Josh McDaniels, a guy who I put some stock in. I'm already selling on my Josh McDaniels because this is his second head coaching time. He screwed up the quarterback. He sent Jay Cutler out without really thinking about how to make a process. And obviously, Derek Carr is not as prickly as Cutler. I mean, I don't even think Derek Carr swears. And I almost feel like he doesn't drink. I mean, I'm sure he probably goes to bed at the same time. I'm sure he wakes up and drinks like a tall glass of milk. He helps old ladies across
buttermilk maybe on Sundays. But you're right about Josh McDaniels. This season will be his last because he's a bust as a head coach. His ego gets in the way. The guy who counts on any NFL team is the quarterback, not the coach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's Mark Davis you're talking about, Al's son. Not a brain guy there.
Well, no, you can look at his haircut and tell most of his brain's on outside of his head.
He's made so many mistakes. And this just continues on and on. Okay.
But getting it back on the carousel.
Yeah, let's go.
Speaking of.
Okay, we're off the trail.
Yeah, we'll get back on the trail.
Yeah.
And I guess like the last big exciting name of like actual starting job that's probably going to become available is I think Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets.
You do?
I mean, just because I think we talked about this maybe a little bit last week. Why, after what he did in Denver, are you like Nathaniel Hackett? He needs to be our offensive coordinator. I mean, that's why the Jets hired him. Like, why would the Jets hire a man who was an absolute train wreck is maybe putting it nicely. What happened?
But that didn't work in Denver. They didn't. Rodgers didn't go to Denver. He ain't going to the Jets. Hell, he's got a better offensive line in Green Bay. I mean,
when they're healthy, I don't know about that.
Well, okay, you can say that about any team, but all I'm looking at is he's got folks that know him, protect him. He's got some receivers already that it works, So,
well, let's be fair.
Are the Jets going to pay that money, that buyout?
That big money?
I think they're willing to, because if you look at, mainly you have to look at situations where their GM Douglas and then their head coach Robert Saleh, they're in a win now mode.
True, I
Like
agree with that.
their butts are on the line.
Got a good defense,
that's why,
strong defense.
Yeah, they have a strong defense. Brees Hall, he got injured early in the year. He can't come back. He was like he looked like he was a top level like running back. So you have that. You look at what Garrett Wilson was. You look at what Elijah Moore can be with Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty enticing. So, and obviously he knows Nathaniel Hackett's system. He's his boy. Like I said, that's the reason why I still think the Denver thing was legitimate. They hired him because they thought they were getting Rodgers, and it just didn't work out. But
and having the rumblings been from Packerland, from the management that's like, we're kind of okay with him leaving. We like our guy, Love.
And then I guess to round out, I'll just machine guns through these, and I'll ask you how you all feel about them. These are more kind of backups, like journeyman stopgaps for a year of a team in a transition.
Don't go to that Pro Bowl, man. I told you.
I'm not. I know. Matt Ryan to the 49ers, just because, both the QBs, Lance and Purdy, they're on cheap contracts. I don't think Matt Ryan will cost a lot because they need like a vet there.
Okay.
And he knows Shanahan's system. If you think about it, obviously he was on that Super Bowl team. And also Shanahan knows him. I think another one that's kind of intriguing for that kind of spot is Andy Dalton to the 49ers.
I like that better. I think he fits better.
Yeah. Jacoby Brissett to the Commanders, mainly because Washington wants to establish a run and they don't want any mistakes. And I think Brissett did that most of last year. And I think he's just a well-regarded, respected quarterback who is obviously a lot different than Wentz, who can be very polarizing. And Marcus Mariota to the Cardinals, because he has Kyler Murray's mobility. And obviously, Kyler probably won't be able to start until late in the season. So they probably want someone who has some similar features. It isn't exactly Kyler Murray, but is similar, so they don't have to adjust the offense dramatically when it comes back. And again, I don't know if he's a starter or backup. They could draft a quarterback, but they're drafting later. But I was going to say Mitch Trubisky to the Falcons, mainly because Ryan Pace is in that front office. He has the mobility, and if you look at with Marcus Mariota and with Ritter, he wants a quarterback who has some mobility. So that's a big part of his offense. And he is well liked also. And I think he can compete with Desmond Ritter. But if Ritter wins out, I think Mitch Trubisky has the type of mindset he's okay with it.
So you're saying Ritter is the guy to start in the Falcons?
I think it's like the Pickett situation.
Yeah.
Again, I think they have like training camp. And I think probably Ritter wins out. But I think they're okay with Trubisky being on their team is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Mitch gets a third shot at being the man.
Yeah.
Being the top 10 pick. Lugs, anything else on those? You got any feedback?
Well, see, I was thinking Garoppolo to the Cardinals. He's perfectly capable. But you don't know at this point who the Cardinals coach is going to be. And Flores has already moved on to the Vikings.
Good move there.
So, it'll be interesting. I would like, personally, if I get my druthers here, I'd like to see Brady come back and honestly go to San Francisco. I want to see that.
Quit that crap, man. We're not doing that.
I want to see it. Think about it. He's there. All he has to do is stand back there and throw the ball. He's got a good offensive line. They're getting back. I mean, come on.
When I put this podcast to bed, I'm taking this part out, man. We're not talking about Brady going to San Francisco. It is not happening. You're dreaming. He's going to go make his $375 million from Fox and hang out with his good buddy, as they call him, Kev Burkhardt, and he'll be good. He'll take a year off. He'll get tan.
I'm sorry, but Brady in a broadcast booth, I will be surprised if he's not as dry as Drew was. I mean, Breeze,
This is a good point. How do we know Brady's any good at this? I completely agree. How do we even know?
I know that he will come in totally prepared and all of that. but it can't just be X's and O's. You got to have some life to you.
Oh, I think we all are in agreement on this. I think we're all co-signed on. I don't know how great Brady's going to be. Like you said, it's not that he's not going to prepare. It's not that he's not going to be motivated to do well. And I think he'll get better if he does it for multiple years. He will get better. But, I mean, it's not really a trick. I mean, would you all agree or disagree with this? You can kind of tell from the way they do press conferences after games, like who has the potential to be like a good color commentator. Like that's where you kind of figure out.
There's your recruiting grounds right there.
Right? I mean, that's the thing is like you go back and probably listen to like Romo press conferences, and it feels like a lot of people have turned on Romo, but like Romo had like an affable like sense of him.
Goofy.
Like Strahan was awesome in the locker room when talking into a mic.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he'll want to do it. Mike Tomlin, I mean, do you think he'd be a hard jump to say, oh, he'd be great doing, some type of collar commentary? No.
Look at the history of it all. I mean, you take a straight man at the mic, Al Michaels, Pat Summerall, and you team him with a guy with personality who's a little outgoing. Tom Brady's none of those things. When you listen to him and Jim Gray on that podcast and things they do, it's like two dull guys together in the same room.
See, I want to hear George Kittle talk because he has when he was looking up at the sky cam and making faces and stuff during the middle of the game, this is a loose dude. So that guy would have some fun, and that's what you need. I mean, you need a guy who can say, they're going into cover 2 or whatever.
You don't.
But
you really don't.
Just occasionally, so he has some sort of legitimacy. But just make it fun for me. Otherwise, I'm putting the radio on to whomever.
Dave Lapham?
Well, I love Lapp. I don't understand why somebody doesn't bring Lapp on. I guess he's sort of Bengals-centric, but I love Lapp.
Even Collinsworth and Mike, and John Madden, not good-looking guys, but yet that you don't have to be. I'm afraid Brady's going to be caught up in being the matinee idol and have to have this persona.
Well, to be fair to your point, the most bizarre part about that is like, oh, he's such a good-looking guy. It's broadcast. They have him up maybe for like
3 minutes, right?
Yeah, 2 minutes. Everything else, it's just his voice. It's not that he has a bad voice, but it's like if you're like, oh, well, you're gonna have his look. It's like
voice and telestrator.
Are they gonna have like a small box in the corner which always shows his face? Are they gonna adjust how they broadcast games now? I mean, I don't know.
No, they're going to have one of those magic boxes. They call it talent, and they turn it on his mic only. So I never thought I would say this.
But here it comes.
I miss Joe Buck and Troy. I do. At least they had legitimate. It felt like a big game when they're there. I'm sorry, Burkhart and Olsen.
I
They're
agree.
just a little too vanilla.
Burkhart has not impressed me so far. I don't know what it is, but he either talks too much or I don't know. But I agree. I'm with you on that.
I think it's a change thing. I think they're actually pretty good. I think they'll get better if they were given time. I think it's unfortunate that they're being cut short. I think they could actually be pretty good.
And they were just thrown together like last year too. I mean, we got to remember that. Literally thrown together. So
I mean,
I don't think either one of them's bad.
No.
They don't reach out. They don't have the pizzazz for me. I need a little something.
You need Dandy Don, which I don't know how many Dandy Dons there are left in the NFL.
Sidebar. Dandy Don, my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
Cleveland had a receiver named Fair Hooker. Honest to God, that was his name. And Dandy Don, without missing a beat, goes, I didn't know there were any fair hookers in Cleveland.
Okay.
And that one won't make the cut either.
No, that won't make the cut. But you're right. I mean, the guy just needs a little personality. I mean, listen to Pat Summerall. 2nd and 10 for the Lions. That's all he would say. And then there'd be some dead air. We don't get a lot of dead air anymore.
So you want the dead air or you don't
I
want
do.
dead air? Oh,
Remember, he'd
you
say,
do want it.
Adam Vinatieri. That's all Pat Summerall would say.
Yeah. Well, again,
I
I
don't
just
know.
think, I think a lot of these newer people do it. Look, if we want to rip on Joe Davis, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
fine with
he's
that.
not. He's
I
not
will.
good.
Again, he's one of those guys. It's the best example of, and maybe this is how you all feel about Kevin Burkhardt. I think all the bits and pieces of like him doing like a broadcast are right. He just misses, and again, I know he's play by play, but he misses just the little bit of flavor. Not even that much for a play by play, just a little bit of flavor. He doesn't have it at all. Like at least Kevin Burkhardt, I remember the one thing that I love is he did a overseas game where he was irate over all the yellow flags being thrown by the refs, and it felt like either he was missing a golf outing in Ireland or something that he was supposed to do, or he's going to miss his red eye flight back to the States. So like you could tell like he has some emotion at points, but
Yeah, Joe Davis sounds like a guy who went to broadcasting school and did okay.
He'd be perfectly good on Western WKU basketball games.
WKU basketball games from EA Diddle Arena. All right, we got to do something, change this up. We'll come back and make our Sport Weasels super duper Super Bowl predictions. But first, how about some sports of yesteryear? Lugs, I don't have a fancy open. You're in your Pinto, I know. You're firing it up. Just let it rip, man. Here you go. Sports of yesteryear. Here's Lugs.
All right. 1893, Vanderbilt University claims it participated in the first organized intercollegiate basketball game at the Nashville YMCA. Vanderbilt beats YMCA 9-3. It was 1898, never used in real baskets, apparently. 1949, Joe DiMaggio becomes the first $100,000 a year baseball player for the New York Yankees. 1969, Diane Crump becomes the first woman jockey at a major U.S. racetrack. Hialeah. 1991, bringing it a little closer to home, our man Bob Knight, then Larry O'Brien, Tiny Archibald, Dave Cowens, Harry Gallatin, and Larry Fleischer are elected to the NBA Hall of Fame. NBA Hall of Fame there. 2010, Super Bowl, Sun Life Stadium, Florida. New Orleans beats Indianapolis 31-17. MVP Drew Brees, the quarterback of New Orleans. And that, folks, is this edition of Sports of Yesteryear.
Well, thank you, Lugs. There's a joke in there somewhere, isn't there? Hiya, Leah. Hiya, Leah. All right, 9-3, Vandy beat the YMCA.
Yeah.
In the first recognized college basketball game?
Yeah. And I think Ernest Tubb was playing center on that thing out of Nashville. That's where he got "I'm walking the floor over you."
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I know.
Nice
It's
one.
terrible.
Oh, God bless us all. God bless us, everyone. Okay, it's prediction time. 28 minutes past the hour. You're showing 64 degrees at the airport. What do you think here on the Super Bowl? The Eagles are a 1.5-point favorite. Very tight. Who wants to start? Lugs, you go? You go.
Well, I'm going with the Eagles. I've seen the injury reports, and everybody seems to be getting healthier, according to coaches. But then what are they going to say? But so I just feel like the Eagles have a little bit of the edge in the offensive line. I do think, like I said before, the defense of Philadelphia, they're going to make Mahomes move in ways he doesn't want to move at this point, especially when they bring in that tandem of Sue and the other guy in the middle. They're going to go after him. It's going to be wild. It'll be a good game. And as far as scoring,
give us a score. Give us a score here.
I'm predicting 27-20.
27-20 Eagles. 27-20.
Whoa.
Okay, T-Dog, what do you say?
I'm in agreement with Lugs in this. Eagles should be favorite, just based on the regular season. They were third in offensive yards. They were second in defense. They were first in sacks. They had 70 sacks. The next team was actually Kansas City. So anyone who doesn't think pass rush matters, there you go. The two teams with the top pass rushes are in the Super Bowl. But the gap was Eagles had 70, Chiefs had 55. So, you're talking about a 15 sack difference in the regular season. They were third in turnover differential. They were +8. And their main weakness, the Eagles, it was a rushing defense. They gave up around 121 yards a game. But like we know, the Chiefs, for the most part, they don't like to run the ball. So they're not going to take advantage of possibly the one weakness of the Eagles. I just worry about it.
I was just going to say quickly, they did take Edwards-Helaire off the injury. He's going to be playing, but we don't know to what capacity he'll be playing.
But even before he got injured, he was kind of being phased out anyway.
Pacheco's your man.
Pacheco and McKinnon.
Yeah.
So, but you are right, like that maybe they do use the three-headed monster of those three more in this game. I think they should. I just worry about the Chiefs. They're young corners. They had some big moments against the Bengals last week, but Devontae Smith and AJ Brown going against. I mean, that's the thing. That whole secondary in terms of corners are all like rookies for the most part, except for Snead. I mean, Mahomes' line is good for the most part, but I mean, Juju and Tony need to be healthy. And at this point, like I said, I think Tony's one of those guys is so explosive, he's too explosive. Like, he always gets injured based on his burst. So like, even if he can play, I don't know if he plays the capacity, because the Eagles are going to just lock down Kelsey.
Yeah,
that's what they're going to focus on. And kind of like what Luggs got at, he felt pressure from the Jags pass rush. He felt pressure from the Bengals pass rush. So it's not like, and they both have good pass rushing. The key to the Eagles is this: they never get tired because they have wave after wave of defensive linemen, and none of those guys will ever get tired because their snaps are never going to get ridiculous. Hassan Reddick is probably going to get a sack or two in this game, and I hate going against Mahomes because I think even though Hurts has elevated himself to being a legitimate franchise quarterback, I still think the gap between Hurts and Mahomes is significant. And this is not a knock on Hurts. It's just Mahomes I think he is the litmus for all quarterbacks in the league right now.
A little older, a little wiser too.
Yeah, but I say it almost every week. I'm going to take the Jimmies and Joes beating the X's and O's. Eagles by 4, 27 to 23.
All right, I'm going to back you boys up on that as well. I like the Eagles. Yes. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is in. Nicole Hardman, we haven't mentioned him yet, but he's out. I think that Hurts will be your MVP. I think Chris Jones will have a good game for the Chiefs, but not enough to make a difference. I don't think it's actually going to be that close. Once again, Patrick will be the bridesmaid, and he's been a couple times where he didn't win. This will be another one. I got it as Eagles 31, Chiefs 17. I think the defense is going to be tough. I think Hurts is underestimated. I think he's undervalued. I think he's underappreciated, and I think he'll make a point. And I also think the defense will come to play and play big. Lugs, I'm with you on your Ndamukong Suh. Let him cut him loose, have his last big game perhaps of his career. He'll, get pumped up and fired up and make it happen. How long's his career been? Long, like 12, I must say 12 years or more, right? He's been around.
Well, that's
a long
the
time.
thing. The guy I think Lugs was talking about, Fletcher Cox, he's coming close to the end of his career too. Yeah. So, like, he wants to go out with another Super Bowl win.
And they are tandem usually.
Yeah.
Fletcher and Ndamukong. And those are some big, angry men. Ndamukong Suh for sure. Fletcher is a little bit more reasonable, but Ndamukong, he's going to go for it. And I do think that Jalen, he will make the difference when it really counts. He will get those yards when they need a first down or whatever. So
and this is the other thing too. I think the Jags ran for over 140 yards on the Chiefs like a few weeks back. The Eagles' offensive line is way better, and ETN's probably better than any single running back on the Eagles. But all three of the main running backs, Sanders, Boston Scott, and I'm blanking on the other one from Memphis. They're all good, and Haskins, my bad, and then I don't know, just with Jalen Hurts too. The other caveat I will say, Hurts hasn't looked 100% since coming back.
True.
If Jones, Frank Clark, or George Karlaftis can get like a kill shot on him early,
Good point.
I think that could swing it wildly. Because, like I said, I don't think he's 100%. I think he's good enough, and I think if they get the momentum early,
Yeah.
they can get rolling. The thing that I think the Chiefs can come back if they're down big, just because we've seen it too many times for Chiefs. I think the thing that is fascinating, I think if the Eagles get down a decent amount early, I think they're in trouble. Yeah. I will say that.
I would agree with that.
Who do you guys like for MVP for the game?
I think it'll be somebody we haven't thought of, honestly. They usually give it to the quarterback one way or the other.
Like
yes. I mean,
but I would hope that, somebody shows up big. I mean, so if I were predicting, I would say it would have to be Hurts, since I'm thinking that they're going to win.
Yeah. I think it'll be a good game to watch, though. It'll be fun. It's a good, we'll see the Eagles in there. Haven't seen them for a while, so it'll be nice.
Just to be different, I'll say it's going to be Haskins going to have a big game, so it'll be Haskins as the MVP.
I like that.
And I just want to give respect. I said Kenneth Gainwell was their third running back. He balled out in the NFC Championship game for.
He really did.
Mm-hmm.
So
he made himself some money with that game.
So what? Question: how many hours of the pregame will you watch, Lugs? All of it? Starting at noon?
I probably won't tune in until like 5, 6 o'clock, and even then, that's a long, because that's another 3 hours potentially before they even get to the kick.
It's a lot of bathroom breaks, isn't it? How about you, T-Dog? Yeah.
As much as I want to see the heart-wrenching story of Harrison Butker being left on a Ferris wheel when he was 12 years old, and that changed the direction of his life, I'm going to wait till I'm going to see when they say the game starts. And remember, the game actually starts 30 minutes later than what they say the start time is. So I'll jump in right then and only then. I'm not going to watch all the pretty games to hear about. Here's the sports tape guy and like his long journey. It's like, yeah, I taped this guy and I taped this guy and I taped this guy. Wow, you've taped a lot of people. Yep, that's my story. As I tape a lot of people.
And will Fox walk out some comedian to do some bit like they always do? What's his name? Rob. Will they do some of that?
Rob
crazy?
Riggles.
Yeah, Riggles bring out that stuff, and it's.
I miss what was that guy, Frank?
Oh, Caliendo. Frank Caliendo.
Yeah, I miss him because he could do a good Bradshaw.
He could,
and I loved that. He would do it right to Bradshaw's face.
I think my favorite one he did John Madden, because John Madden hated it.
He did.
Oh yeah,
and he was better than Madden himself, practically. Now, will Gronk make an appearance on the big desk? Do you think? Is Gronk a regular feature on Fox? They've been highlighting him.
I think he'll be sidelined.
Okay.
Sideline sort of. I would. Yeah, I think that, because think about it. If they put Gronk and Brady together, next fall, because Brady won't show up. He didn't want to, step on them at all. I will give him that. He is a team guy. He understands team concept. It's not all about starring. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, what the heck, And then we've got 4 months before we can get back to football.
All right. Any prop bets? Anything you're looking at there, T-Dog? Anything strike you that you got to say, this is funny, or I got to do it? Over, under, national anthem, any of that stuff?
Well, I just want to say, these are ones where you have a problem with gambling. And actually, this is one of the more famous, or I guess like betted on prop bets. Coin toss. It's plus 100 heads or tails. Why? Like you literally just have money you don't want in your pocket. And
Let
you're
it go.
betting on a coin
Burn it
toss.
off. Yep.
Gatorade. I didn't know it was so varied. Orange is plus 350. Yellow, green counts as one. Is plus 400. Blue is plus 400. Red, pink is one plus 450. Clear 500. Well, I don't even know what clear color is. Is that Arctic Blast? I'm asking you all. Do you all know? Is that Arctic?
Had no. So this is
The purple is 750, and actually one that'd be cool because I don't think anyone's not done it since I believe it started with the big tuna when the Giants won the first one.
Parcells.
None is at 1,000. I don't know if anyone's not done it though. I wish one guy would be in the know and tell him like, let's not do it,
or
let's just pick them up on our shoulders, or
one full of paper clips or clippings or something. You know, with confetti in it. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Do like the Globetrotters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Big bucket of water. Yeah.
Like fake it. And
love that.
But, I like that one.
Works every time. Works every time.
And and again, this is organic. He didn't set me up for this. Scoring a first quarter TD, as Lugs mentioned, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back, plus 1,800.
Wow,
for him to be the first quarter TD. I don't know. He scored a lot of TDs before he got injured. So I mean, like, I'm just throwing that out there.
You're thinking about laying one down on that, are you?
Yeah, I'm just saying. You don't have to bet much. And then you want to talk about. Like again, this might be the most depraved one that I can think of. Which kicker will have the most points? I mean, if you're betting on kickers and who has the most points, I will say Harrison Butker negative 124 to Elliott's 102. But it's like, man, if you're betting on kickers, you need to seek help where that ad for that 1-800 number comes up.
Yeah.
Like, you have a problem.
I tell you, I've got $5 on Rihanna's hair color. I've got brown, but you can have blonde, you can have red, but I'm betting on hair color on this one.
Well, I'll ask you this, Lugs. Do they have like the variants? Because like, what if she has like a color streamed into it,
or platinum blonde?
Is it just go by the
highlights? Let's go highlights here. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, does it go by the main color, or because what if she has multiple colors?
Extensions.
As long as she's got the color I bet on, I want my money.
Okay, over under on the national anthem. I'm saying 2.5 minutes.
Who's singing it? I don't know.
That's a really good question.
Is that Chris Stapleton?
Our crack research team. Let's see.
If it is Chris Stapleton, I go under. I think he's one of those guys. He just wants to do a good job and wrap it up. He's not
get on, get off.
Yeah, I don't think he's there to woo people with his vocal cords. I think he has a great singing
You're right,
voice,
Chris Stapleton. You called it. Kentucky's own Chris Stapleton. Yes, sir.
I think it's under then.
Under 2.5. He's a no nonsense kind of guy.
With
the flyover and the preamble and the trumpet buildup, all that. Okay.
I just don't think he's that type of singer that's like, like also what is anyone trying to do? Once Whitney Houston did it, why is anyone trying to like, I'm going to do what Whitney Houston
just rack that tape up and play it back. Just play it back.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anything else on that, on the prop bets or thoughts on the big game?
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm just excited.
Yeah.
Like Lugs said, it's like I'm sad to see the season end, but I think this is a great matchup, and I think it'll be entertaining.
And some new blood in there, and it'll be fun. All right, that's it, I think, right? Okay, wait a minute. That'll bring to a close our program. Sports and other stuff were brought to you in part by Austin Chiropractic. Remember the 5 most dangerous words. Maybe it will go away. If you've had a week back for a week back, stop in and see our guy. He's there right now. His name is
Fish. This week, to honor a milestone in musical history, Fish is breaking out his mop-top wig. Yes, this is the week in 1964 the British invasion began. When the Beatles landed in New York City, Beatlemania stormed America when the Fab Four performed on the Ed Sullivan Show to 73 million. Get that, 73 million people. For our kids listeners, the Beatles were the Beyonce and Taylor Swifts of their generation. So let's take a trip down Penny Lane. Fish is hosting a Beatles trivia contest this Saturday at 1 p.m. Prizes are vintage Beatles albums, with the grand prize being a year's coverage of your home or office by We Blast 'Em Exterminators. They'll kill your Beatles, your cockroaches, and your silverfish with something more than Maxwell's silver hammer. That's this Saturday at 1 p.m. Come on down.
A really, really big show. We'll see you next time. Sports and other stuff. So long. Bye-bye. Happy
Bye.
Super Bowl.